That's from a series called, Band of Brothers. There we go. Has anybody ever seen any of it? Band of Brothers? Basically, what we just saw there was, it was kind of, World War II is basically ending, and that's the German commander. And so he's speaking to his troops after they basically surrendered. And we close this morning with that clip because I think for a lot of us on the ROC team, that's sort of what's in our hearts. Like, we are proud of you. You have fought hard. I mean, hopefully not too much of the like, we have suffered and died together. You know, hopefully we're not going there too much, although I know everybody's tired and maybe has sacrificed a lot to be here. But we just really are so proud of you guys, so excited for you as you continue this preparation for sacraments. But we're not done yet, all right? So this morning I just want to kind of pull the weekend together a little bit for us. So Friday night we talked about who? Jesus, yes, Jesus, right? That Jesus came to reconcile us to God, that we had sinned, that we had fallen far away from him, that he came to us to die for us, that we might have salvation. And then Saturday morning we talked about God the Father, exactly, right? God the Father and his great, great love for us, and who we are as our identity as his children. And then last night we talked about Holy Spirit, exactly, beautiful, right? This power of the Holy Spirit, the Spirit that guides us, that leads us, that teaches us how to pray, that helps us in our different struggles. And so this morning I want to pull it all together for us, and I want to speak about the Trinity. Okay, the Trinity. You guys know what the Trinity is? What do I mean when I'm talking about the Trinity? I mean what? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? We make the sign of the cross, right? We say the name of the Trinity. When we're speaking of the Trinity, though, we're talking about these three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But how many gods do we believe in? One. Yes. You guys all win, right? This is the mystery of the Trinity. Three persons in one God. The Catechism, it tells us this, that book we've been talking about, says the mystery of the most holy Trinity is a central mystery of Christian faith and life, for it is the mystery of God in himself. God in himself. So sort of like as soldiers advance in their training, you know, they go up through the ranks and they get to know more and more of the inner secrets. It's kind of like you advance through the ranks. Here we go. The very mystery of who God is. God in himself is Trinity. And this is the source of all other mysteries of the faith. Everything else we know and we believe comes from this. You cannot be Christian if you do not believe in this, if you do not believe in the Trinity, okay? If you do not believe in the Trinity, this central mystery of the faith. But it seems a little bit like bad math sometimes, right? How many gods? One. How many persons? Seems a little bit like bad math, sort of like this. Here's some bad math for you. Like this. Nope. Not having bad math. Okay, just kidding. Seems like bad math though anyway, right? But we're going to talk about this. How can there be three in one? How can we know that God is three persons? The Catechism also tells us this. God has revealed his innermost secret, that God himself is an eternal exchange of love. Okay, an eternal exchange of love. If you're going to be an exchange of love, what do you need? Yes, someone else to love. If there was no one else to love but yourself, then you're just self-absorbed, self-centered, and kind of like Justin Bieber, right? I mean, just kidding, sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's nice. So if God is going to be love, right? If God is love, if God is an eternal exchange of love, who was God loving before any of us were created? Not just himself, right? Then it would just God just loving himself, then he's self-centered, right? This is why there are the three persons, and Angela talked about this last night. The Father loving who? The Son receiving that love of the Father and returning it. The love between them so real that it is the Holy Spirit. Exactly. This is how we can know there's three persons, but how many gods? One, because God is love, and so this is a mystery of who God is, okay? St. Patrick, are you guys familiar with St. Patrick? Right? You know, he went and converted a bunch of people in Ireland. What image did he use for this? The shamrock. Exactly. St. Patrick used a shamrock. Is there a picture up there? Not that either. Okay, no problem. You guys know what a shamrock looks like, right? Say I'm picturing holding a shamrock and it has 3 leaves. If I was to take off one of those leaves of the shamrock, what is this leaf now? Is it now a tree? Is it now a banana? Is it now a puppy dog? It's still what? A shamrock, right? The leaf is still a shamrock. But how many shamrocks does St. Patrick hold there? Just one. It's still just one shamrock, right? Even though each leaf we could say is a shamrock, all right? So let's talk about this a little bit more. There's three things I want to talk about when we talk about God as Trinity a little bit more. The first is that the Trinity is one. Okay, we've been talking about this. The Catechism, it says the divine persons do not share the one divinity. Each of them are God whole and entire. Right? Jesus says, I and the Father are one. What does this mean? Let's talk again about some bad math. It does not mean, okay, there's one God. So here we go. Jesus is going to be 33% God. And the Holy Spirit's going to be 33% God. And the Father's going to be what? How much is left? 34%, because he's Father, so he gets an extra percent, right? No, that's not the Trinity. Each of them are 100% God. Father's 100% God. Holy Spirit's 100% God. Son is 100% God. The divinity is not divided between them, okay? But even so, how many gods? One, right? That's why it seems like bad math. Here we go, though. The second thing I want you to know, the divine persons are distinct. Okay, another word for distinct is different. What do I mean by that? I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, but there's still just me, right? Those are just ways that I relate to people. It's not like that with God. It's not like God sometimes is like, I'm creating the world, and so now I'm God the Father. Hello. And then he's like, and now I'm going to throw on a tunic and a beard and come down, and now I'm Jesus. Hey. Oh, wait, now it's Pentecost. Here's my Holy Spirit mask. Okay? God does not like just appear as these different people. He's not just pretending, right, or taking on these different roles. Each one is different. The three persons are what? Different. The three persons are different. They are not the same person. The Father is not the Son is not the Father, the Holy Spirit is not either of them. So how many gods? One. How many persons? And the three persons are different. Why are they different? Where does the distinction come? The church tells us it comes in their relationship. If you're going to be a father, what do you need? It's children, right? The Father is Father in relationship to his Son, the Son in relationship to the Father, the Holy Spirit in relationship to the three of them. Awesome. You guys are doing great for Sunday morning. I know that this is a ton, right? Our minds are bending when we think about this a lot. Because the three persons, one God thing, it just doesn't add up in a lot of ways. But it's important for us to know this, okay? Even if it's hard to grasp sometimes. Is there anybody here who likes M&Ms? You've already been down here. Have you been down yet? Yeah. Have you? Come on down. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Anthony Bilka. I'm a freshman. Yeah, Anthony! Louisville.
Give it up for Anthony. He's like, I just said I liked M&Ms. I didn't say I wanted to be down front. All right. This is your cup, and these are all of the M&Ms that I would like to give you. You just have to get all of these M&Ms in that cup. Easy?
Sure.
Great. I like positive attitudes. All the M&Ms in the cup. Oh, so clever. Thank you for making me clarify. All of the M&Ms out of the bag and into the cup. Sorry to be particular. How we doing? But I need all the M&Ms in the cup. All the M&Ms out of the bag and into the cup. Poor guy, he's getting so set up, right? Okay, so you can't get all the M&Ms in the cup, and we all can see that. What would you need to get all these M&Ms out of the bag?
More cups.
Yes, more cups, right, or a bigger cup. However, even though you can't get them all, are you happy to have these M&Ms at least? All right, thank you. Give it up for Anthony. I just ask you don't share them until I'm done. We don't want anybody to be distracted by M&Ms. All right, so why did I pick on him? Because I think it's similar with the Trinity, right? It's such a mystery of God. Our minds are like that cup. Our minds can only grasp so much of it, right? And God is so amazing and so big, but it's almost good that we can't understand it. If God was someone I could completely understand, I don't know how much of a God he would be because I'm not that smart, you know? So to have a God who's a mystery that we can't completely understand is good. But when we try to understand him, right, it's still like Anthony getting some M&Ms in the cup. That we grow in our understanding, we grow in our knowledge of him. And as we continue to grow in understanding, as we continue to grow in relationship with him, it's like then God makes our cup bigger. or gives us more cups, that then we are able to hold more and more and more of him. Okay? So that's why I think it's important to talk about this. Even though it's a mystery that's hard to understand, it's worth it. It's worth it to try to understand and come to know God in this way. Okay? But the mystery is deeper than this. It's not just a mind game. It's not just seemingly bad math. It's not just something for theologians and seminarians to sit around and ponder and discuss, like how is this possible? The mystery goes deeper. That quote that I shared with you earlier, there's another part to it. It says, God has revealed his innermost secret, that God himself is the eternal exchange of love, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and he has destined us to share in that exchange. He has destined us to share in that exchange. The mystery is bigger than just who God is in himself. The mystery is that he loves us enough to want us to be a part of it. And at our baptism, I think some of you here are preparing to be baptized, but when a person is baptized, the Holy Trinity comes to dwell within us. Right? To be in us, to live in us, to move in us, to continue to be in this relationship with us through our life. But we are destined to share in that eternal exchange of love forever. Where? Heaven. Heaven. Where? Heaven. You guys, this is what it's about. Why we're in the army. This Trinity tells us who we are and that we have a mission, that we have a purpose. That purpose is to live for him here on this life, but someday to be with him in heaven. And I know about you guys, but I don't wake up each morning and be like, well, I have to do this and this and this, and this is going really terrible, but someday hopefully I'll be in heaven, so hey, it's gonna all work out. We're not thinking about that a lot of the times. But we need to think about that. We need to think about it because all of us are gonna die. We are all going to die. And when we die, there are two choices. Heaven, maybe with a stop in purgatory, and hell. And hell is real, and people do go there. And we need to think about this sometimes. Now, people will say, how could a good God send anybody to hell? I don't believe in that. Well, you know what? Our good God does not send people to hell. But our God is so good that he lets people choose hell for themselves. If someone lives their entire life rejecting God, telling God they want to have nothing to do with him, then why would a God who is love force that person to be with him for all eternity? He won't. He won't. He allows people to choose. He gives us free will to choose, do we want to be with him or not? And he will respect that choice, right? But it's real, and this is a reality. And some of you maybe are going through really difficult situations. Maybe some of you have just tons of brokenness, tons of unhappiness. You're dealing with illnesses, family problems, maybe just the pressures of stress and of school, and there can be so many burdens that are placed upon you guys. And sometimes it's important for things like this to take a step back and to say, you know what? This is tough right now. This is horrible right now what my family is going through. But God can get me through this, and he has invited me someday to be with him in heaven. If I can just stay faithful, if I can just persevere, that this can end and things will change, right? But to do that, we have to continue to live faithfully as his soldiers. We have to do our part as well. We put so many energy into other things in our life. Do we have that clip?
What is strong? Is it muscle? Or something more? Is it measured in miles or milliseconds? Is it your best time or your worst day? Maybe strong is just what you have left when you've used up all your weak.
Not so dramatic. Maybe strong is what you have left when you've used up all your weak. Isn't it amazing the things that we do with marketing, right? There's so much marketing and push on these things. But it really captures, I think, in a lot of ways, the things that we put energy in. How many of you guys watching the Olympics? Yes? Interested in the Olympics? Right? We get so invested in a lot of times because these athletes have worked so hard, right? They've given so much for their, one chance at the Olympic gold. We put so much energy into so many things of our life. You put tons of energy maybe into your schoolwork, into your extracurricular activities, into your friendships, into your job, into these things. Those are good. Those are good things, right? And it's important to put energy into those in your state of life. But let's compare. What percentage of energy are we putting into that which is going to last forever? Into our relationship with God, into living for Him, right? Is it even comparable? Is it even comparable, the amount of energy that we're devoting to all of these other pressures and demands that you have on you based on your relationship with God? Because all soldiers need to sacrifice. All soldiers need to sacrifice. And I know that a lot of you sacrifice a ton for the things that you are involved in. If you're going to be good at a sport, if you're going to be good at a musical instrument, if you're going to, have the good grades, if you're going to do these different things, you're sacrificing a lot. You're sacrificing time, you're sacrificing sleep, you're sacrificing maybe, the way you spend your time with friends, time doing other things. You're sacrificing, maybe, all sorts of things, right? You make sacrifices for what is important to you. And you guys, I hear a lot, are so tired and so busy and so burnt out because you're sacrificing for all of these things. Let's maybe consider this weekend sacrificing a little bit more for our relationship with God, to live in that mystery of the Trinity, of the eternal exchange of love. That as we leave here, what needs to change? Where do we need to sacrifice a little bit more? Do we need to sacrifice a little bit of sleep so that we can have some time in prayer? Do we need to change what relationship that we're in, or what we're doing in that relationship? Do we need to sacrifice maybe certain friends? Do we need to change what we watch, what we look at, the music that we listen to? Just how we prioritize our time. Do we need to change how we treat other people? What are the things that we're being called to as we prepare to leave this retreat that need to change? That need to change so we can be preparing for this eternal exchange of love that God has called us to. That God has called us to. I know a guy, and he grew up in a Catholic family. And so he had to go to Mass every Sunday. He was involved in his youth group. He'd go on retreats. He'd do whatever he was supposed to do. But as a freshman in high school, he just started to get into the wrong crowd. As a freshman in high school, he started smoking pot, started, doing different things he wasn't supposed to be doing. Already started to get into the party scene, and was drinking. Just continued all through high school. Just hanging with this group of friends, hanging with this group of guys, going to the parties, doing the drugs, making bad choices, all of those different things. But he would still go to Mass, his parents made him. He'd come on retreats sometimes and, have a good time with his friends. But nothing that really changed him. He'd just go back into that scene. And then when he was a senior, he came home from a party and he was just strung out on cocaine. And he was in the shower, and he got out of the shower and he looked at himself in the mirror, and it's like he didn't even know who he was anymore. He couldn't even see himself anymore. He was just so messed up and so broken. And in a moment of grace, there in his bathroom, looking at himself, not even recognizing himself practically anymore, he just said, God, I am broken, but I need you to come and wreck my life. I need you to come and wreck my life because I am, can't do this anymore. I'm wrecking it myself. And he changed in that moment of grace in his bathroom, in a prayer of honesty, asking the Lord to come into his heart. And so then started the work, though, of the sacrifice, right? He knew he wanted to live differently, and that meant he had to change things. So as he told his friends, you know what, I'm done with the drugs, they said, that's cool, man, but now we're done with you. If he wasn't doing the drugs with them, then they weren't interested in hanging out anymore. So here he is, last semester, senior year, should be, super fun and all these friends, and he would, sit at home with his parents on the weekends, which is cool. Parents are cool. It's all right, right? He would go to the chapel at St. Anne's. At St. Anne's, there's a chapel where the Lord is in the Blessed Sacrament. Saturday night, and that's where he would be, in the chapel with the Lord, because all of his friends had left him, but he had decided who it was that he wanted to be. Because of that decision that he made in high school, he continued to grow in his relationship with the Lord. The Lord provided him with new friendships, right? Friendships that were strengthened, friendships that were renewed, a group of young men all growing together, growing in faith, seeking God, growing in holiness. And almost 3 years ago, I married that man. I married that man. And if he had not chosen in high school who he wanted to be, I would have never married him. And that sweet little Jeremiah would not exist. Let that sink in. Because the friends that he did drugs with in high school, he's been able to find out a little bit, and a lot of them are dead or in jail. I'm not kidding. If he had not had the courage to decide in high school to change, Jeremiah would never exist. That beautiful, irrepeatable human soul, my children, would never have existed. The decisions that you make now affect everything. They affect everything. You are not too young to choose to live for the Lord. And if you do not choose now, then what is your future going to be? Generations of other people could depend on your decision now. Your decision now about who you are going to be, how you are going to live, what is important to you, what are you going to love? Will you be for the Lord or not? Because in this battle, there is no middle ground. There is no middle ground. I have been in youth ministry long enough to see young people destroyed, because they're too afraid to make changes and to live for the Lord, because this culture is not going to be easy on you if you are not going to pick sides. You have got to choose a side in this battle. You've got to live it. It's not always easy. You know, none of us are perfect, but we are all here to help you. We are all soldiers in this together. We love you guys and believe in you and want the best for you. In confirmation, you will finally be given everything from the Lord, fully equipped to live this faith. But it's up to you to choose how you're going to live, right? Choose the Lord. Live for him. Grow in faith. Remember that you are made for heaven. Fight the good fight of faith.